everybody, welcome to the first Decent Meetup in Bratislava, in the capital city of Slovakia. You can see we have a great location in the places of O100 Ventures, which is one of the best views on the city.
So hello, my name is Dusan. I'm one of the founders of 100 Ventures, company builder based in Bratislava. We run VC conferences, co-working space. We help small companies to scale and raise funds. And on top of that, we're trying to create international community here in Bratislava.
All right, so good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for coming to actually the first decent meetup ever taking place in Bratislava, in the startup capital of the world. And future startup capital of the world. In 10 years from now, this will be the startup capital. So I would like to especially thank the guys from O100 Ventures that made this possible for us. This great venue, the view on the whole city, on the capital of Slovakia. Thank you. Thank you, Peter. Thank you, Dusan. Thank you, Marek. So, how to start? So, maybe let me first introduce myself. My name is Matej Michalko, and I was born in this city. I come from this city, and I now don't spend that much time in this city, but this could change in the future. And I'm actually the founder of Decent, which is a blockchain. Actually, we are three founders, and I'm one of them. And I'm the founder of Decent, which is a blockchain digital content distribution platform. And I have a question to ask you for the beginning. Who of you have already heard about blockchain? Raise your hand if you have. Excellent. So almost all of you heard about blockchain, so I'm not going to talk too much about this wonderful concept, about this thing that is going to disrupt many business models in the world that people know from today. And I'm going to focus on the blockchain digital content distribution. So my story with blockchain, I started as a Bitcoin miner a couple of years ago. It could be probably 5 years now. I'm already mining Bitcoins. And I had a lot of Bitcoins actually, but worth nothing at that time. But unfortunately I sold many of them when the exchange rate was about 8 euros per Bitcoin. But this doesn't change actually anything from the fact that what blockchain technologies, what potential blockchain technologies have today in the world. So after being a miner, I started to organize Bitcoin, cryptocurrency and blockchain conferences all over the world. I actually held the second Bitcoin conference in the UK called Bitcoin Expo 2013, taking place in end of November 2013 in London. We've got about probably somewhere close to 1,000 attendees. And it was a free event for everyone. And you've got, for instance, Richard Stallman, the author of GCC and the GPL, attending. A very well-known person from the open source community. Later on, I held Bitcoin Expo 2014 in Vienna, 1 year after. It was also a pretty interesting conference here in Central Europe. And after I organized Bitcoin Expo 2014 taking place in Shanghai, which was actually one of the first truly international Bitcoin conferences in China. And then I got a smaller congress. I was organizer of a smaller congress in Brussels. So this is the event history with Bitcoin, and also I founded the very first crypto digital marketing agency in the world called Bitcoin Marketing. I already left the company, but we've been a full service marketing agency for everything Bitcoin, blockchain, cryptocurrency, and we've got clients from all over the world, but mainly Asian companies that wanted to establish their presence in the West. Also, I spent a couple of months in the Isle of Man, which is a small island between the UK and Ireland, and it's well known for its e-gaming positive regulation. And we actually got, for example, poker stars based there, and who play poker, you should know about these poker stars. And we actually had a client that had a Bitcoin-based e-game, and we wanted to make it regulated in there. So I talked to the Department of Economic Development. I went to meetings with ministers, but after our efforts during a couple of months, we realized that the actual regulation taking place for cryptocurrencies in the Isle of Man would take at least 18 months. So we have just left from there. But we were one of the initiators of those talks in this island. So, you know, I'm full-time in Bitcoin and blockchain for a couple of years already. More than 2 years, probably close to 3. I'm doing only this. And my last project is Decent, which is a blockchain digital content distribution network. Digital content distribution network, right? So what does it mean? You know, everyone, if we say blockchain today, most of the people think about Bitcoin and finance, financial technology, fintech, banks, and so on. But this is not this. This is digital content. This is movies, music, text, e-books, video, everything, every kind of file you can have on your computer, any kind of media content, this is Decent with blockchain. So we are one of the first initiators of getting blockchain out of the fintech world. We are putting digital content distribution on blockchain with Decent. And why would a layman ask what is the advantage to having digital content distribution on blockchain? So, well, there is a huge reduction of transaction costs. We eliminate the unnecessary middleman from the world of digital content distribution. Just let me give you one example. For instance, you are an author and you want to sell an ebook. You spend a lot of time writing it, creating it, and you just want to sell it. You want to monetize your work and time and other resources you spend writing your ebook. So the obvious choice is you just go to Amazon.com, right? Then there are, terms and conditions and so on. So you need to, comply with this. So once you get through this, then you start your sales. Let's say your ebook costs 20 euros, and you are lucky, and in the first month you sell 1,000 ebooks. So you should be receiving 20,000 euros. Your revenue is 20,000 euros. But actually, because of Amazon, you only get 40 to 60% of this. So something like around half of this. So probably only get 10,000 euros from Amazon for the revenue. So this is how much the middleman is taking, right? If there would be a way to get to the consumer without the middleman, you can save those fees. The fees goes to the author. And this is what Decent is enabling. And that's all thanks to blockchain technologies. It's the same in Bitcoin, right? You have Bitcoin and you want to send money from here to the US. So with Bitcoin you can do it in 10 minutes. The transaction, the block time is 10 minutes, so we send it in 10 minutes. Someone else receives it and they can exchange it for dollars using local exchange. So the whole transaction takes probably 2 to 3 hours if you are lucky. Right? But with the bank, you go through SWIFT, you pay something like 20 euros and it takes maybe 3 days to 1 week to get it there. So it's more expensive and slower. But with Bitcoin it's fast. And we are putting this mental model of having everything fast and with no middleman, or middleman as reduced as possible, on blockchain to digital content distribution. So this was a very short introduction about what is Decent all about. Now let me dive a little bit into blockchain technologies in general. So I don't want to talk too much about technical details, but the key thing to remember about blockchain technologies is that they eliminate the middleman. So they eliminate the bank or the Amazon, right, that takes your fees. They eliminate those guys. And they do it by decentralizing the trust between people. Because historically, people needed to have a third party to trust. For example, Amazon, right? You go on Amazon and you see that it's something you can trust, right? Because it's the name, it's the brand, and so on. You see it would be good, and they take their 40 to 60%, then you will get it sold on. So. But the thing is that the middleman can actually manipulate everything. Because Amazon is a private company, right? It's a private company, and they have private, I mean non-government. I'm not talking about IPOs or this kind of stuff. So there's a for-profit company. They have their own offices, they have their staff, they have their marketing department, they have their operations, they have their accounting, they have everything, and they need to somehow pay for it, generate revenue, and they do it by charging the middleman fees, one of the revenue streams. And this is actually, thanks to blockchain, it's unnecessary. Then, so as I already mentioned, this kind of blockchain technology can save a lot of transaction costs. And this is not only for the authors. It can be a group of authors, it can be a group of publishers, it can be an existing medium, it can be anything. Just the cost can be saved by using this, by using blockchain. Then of course, thanks to very advanced cryptography we have in Decent, everything is secure. Because the content gets decrypted only when it gets to its final user. Right? This is just one of the examples. So everything is encrypted. We have zero knowledge about users' data, and everything is totally clear. Then of course it's scalable as well, because Decent is a peer-to-peer protocol. So you can think something like BitTorrent, right? You just download your new new version of Ubuntu using BitTorrent. Then adding a new node to BitTorrent is very easy. It's all open source and people can just download it from the internet or from anywhere from a server. Run the application and participate in the network. That's why it is perfectly scalable. Then this is actually a presentation I gave in Helsinki at the Cointelegraph conference a week ago. And when they wanted to talk a little bit more in general about decentralized applications, the apps. So what does it mean, the app? So everyone knows the mental model of a company, right? You go to the business registry, you register a company, and you pay a fee, and then you can start operate. You can start the business running. So this is actually very similar with the apps, or DAOs, decentralized autonomous organizations, which actually have no leadership inside, right? There are just a group of nodes that decides somehow what to do according to the choice of each node, right? You can call it a direct democracy. DAO is a direct democracy stuff. So, for instance, Bitcoin is a DAO as well. If you want to get Bitcoins, you can just buy them, or you can start mining Bitcoins. That means you all know that many of you probably already mine Bitcoins, including me. You can just plug in your computer or any kind of hardware into the network, and you get Bitcoins from the network for supporting the network, right? So this is how the DAO works in general. Then a key thing of those apps that it's all open source. There is no one cheating over here. People can verify everything on GitHub. It's open source, download it, compile by themselves, and have it. Then, what is very important to note with blockchain, that all the transactions are immutable. What does it mean? If you take a standard database, you can think, I don't know, MySQL or whatever, or even more easily, you can think about Excel, Microsoft Excel sheet. You have those cells over there, and you just want to change one record in those cells, right? Then you just change it. I put A there, and you delete, and you put B. Then there is no history of the changes, actually stored nowhere, usually. But this is not what happens in the blockchain. Blockchain has all the transactions, everything what happened, in a linked list of blocks. So there is a way to see what happened in the past. As I already mentioned, they are massively scalable, and they are usually a very strong cryptography approaches that need to be used to make this running. Because, as I already mentioned, there is no middleman, so it's very hard to review, who is right and who isn't. So many things are thanks to very advanced cryptography concepts. Then usually those DAOs or DApps have their tokens, own tokens. For example, for Bitcoin DAO, there are Bitcoins, BTC. Those are tokens. You have just some kind of asset. Maybe someone can call it software because it's just a piece of code. It depends on the actual legal system, who calls it how. And you can use those coins you need those coins actually to use the system. Without owning Bitcoins, you cannot use Bitcoin, right? And this is the same for other projects such as Ethereum or Augur or anything. Augur is actually decentralized betting, prediction market. So the crowd can predict what would happen according to some statistical and economical model, but I can talk about this afterwards. Now, this is an example of, actually I call it DApps, right? It means decentralized apps, but I would rather call it distributed apps. Because if you have a look over here, this is a classical example of a centralized network. There is someone in the middle, and there is a server and there are clients, right? So everyone communicates with this guy. So this guy can be Amazon inside. So there is a single point of failure, there is the manipulation, and so on and so on. And so on. Fees, of course. Then there is decentralized, which is usually this kind of structure. So there are some of kind of a federated, more important nodes, and some other nodes, some clients are connecting to them. So there are some of the blockchain applications, they have already this form. But the fully distributed one is this one. It's really peer-to-peer, This guy is not more important than this one, and this one is not more important than this one. So this is the idea in those applications. So same with Bitcoin, Ethereum, Decent. Everyone is just like you. So there are equal opportunities for everyone. Now, let me talk about something that you probably heard about, and it's called the DAO. And the DAO was actually one decentralized autonomous organization that has been launched a couple of months ago. And the idea was to have a decentralized VC fund to fund projects on blockchain. So this project managed to raise 160 million US dollars in their first kind of round of raising money. And this happened in the form of a crowd sale. So this was the largest crowd sale in human history, 160 million. Now there were 18,000 stakeholders in the system, so 18,000 different people or entities, as far as I know, they invested into DAO. So, but what happened? DAO has been running on Ethereum, which is a smart contracts programming platform. So what is a smart contract? Smart contract is actually something like a normal contract, standard contract, right? You have a contract, you have a piece of paper, there are the terms, you sign it, you go to notary public, and that's it, right? And smart contract is something like this, exactly, just in the form of computer code. So instead of signing a contract, you can write computer code and let the distributed or decentralized network verify it for you, its validity, and execute it as well. For example, I'm a business and I have a web freelancer, web developer freelancer, and I need some work to be done. So it will cost me 1,000 euros, and it's payable in 2 weeks after it is delivered. So once it is delivered, we write a smart contract beforehand. So I acknowledge it's delivered, and the smart contracts automatically sends money to the developer. So there is automatic escrow, there is automatic execution of transactions, and so on and so on. So all this can be done here. So the problem with DAO was that there was an error, there was a bug in the smart contract, and someone managed to basically steal 50 million US dollars hacker from there in crypto assets in ETH. So then what followed was a hard fork of Ethereum, the smart contract programming platform DAO was running on, and the split in the community. There was one community for Ethereum and one community for the old Ethereum. So actually a hard fork is just reversing the transaction, right? It's you know, blockchain is immutable, but you make blockchain non-immutable by a community decision. Because actually the miners and the participants in Ethereum, they chose to do this. Because actually of some convincing, you know, convincing stuff of the creators of Ethereum. So, but you know, I don't want to go into much details. But what happened actually, that there is a huge split of communities in there. Some people say it's like this, we have this blockchain, and some people say it's like that, and we have this blockchain. So there are kind of two conflicting blockchains and tokens. So for instance, ETH, one ETH is trading for something like 10 euros today. Yeah, one ETH. And one ETC, it's probably could be also, I believe, 2 euros. It could be. So 1.5. All right, so 1.5. So it's a little bit changing. So this kind of split, you know, happened, and the question in here is first whether the smart contracts is really the best to have. Because I have a computer science background, but even I don't understand all the code, you know, I read and so on, it takes time. And imagine a lawyer, right? Usually lawyers deal with contracts. How many lawyers can deal with computer code, with programming? I believe not that many. So there is a problem, you know, who would actually understand those smart contracts and how it is in the legal system, and who is responsible for its non-functioning, right? Because some of the guys who actually wrote this software, this smart contract, they say, oh, this is perfect, we just hard fork Ethereum. But then if I was the investor, I wouldn't be that happy, right? Because I would lose a lot of money. So the question is, who is liable for what, right? So, exactly. And so this may trigger in the future to have, you know, law and computer science together. Maybe universities would offer this degree, smart contract lawyer or something like this. So a lawyer that can write code. And then another question is whether these DAO, you know, decentralized autonomous organizations, should or shouldn't have leadership. So imagine 160 million you have in a fund. I don't know what is the biggest VC fund in Slovakia, but this one could be called maybe the biggest, if it was in Slovakia, the biggest VC fund in Slovakia, right? So and with 18,000 people in there. So the question is, how can 18,000 people decide about what project to invest into, right? This is kind of, the transaction costs are kind of high, and it's not very convenient for them to vote. Because usually in a standard VC fund, there is some investment committee, you know, some advisors, but just maybe few people, maybe 5 people maximum can decide about an investment. But here it's 18,000. So the question is whether let something totally decentralized with no leadership is the best approach. It's just, you know, a philosophical question. We don't know. I don't know, at least. This is just, what I can say, this is all very early markets, early ecosystem, and we will see in the future how this would look like. So, all right, now a few words about Decent, about the project I founded. So, blockchain is a digital content distribution platform, as I already mentioned, and it eliminates the middleman fees and manipulation. So, for instance, what happened to me? I was something like 2 or 3 months ago, before going to China, I was in Prague, and I ordered a hotel room on Booking.com. So then I went to the hotel, and I realized that my room is much smaller and has no windows. So this is what they wanted to offer me at the reception. So I asked them, I told them that I'm not going to accept this, of course, for this amount of money. And they say, well, take it or leave. We are just not going to return money, and that's it. So I will not name the hotel, but then of course I booked a different hotel, and I complained to Booking, and I left them a very negative comment. I gave them only 1 star, and I explain what happened, right? No windows and so on, that stuff. And then it was published in there, and then I looked at the same hotel just for fun 2 weeks after, and the comment was not there. Can you imagine this? So actually the middleman, Booking.com, they have different kind of incentives, to keep their business running. And the question is whether the society really needs this kind of middleman. So this is, the solution to this kind of stuff. Also the reputation is in the blockchain, and it's registered. Everything stays there. So genuine artists, genuine great people, genuine authors can build a lifetime reputation by using blockchain. They can't do this on Amazon. They can't do this on iTunes. They can't do this on any other platform you can talk about. So Decent, as I already said, we'll be building a decentralized Netflix, Amazon, iTunes, and much more. We are also into Internet of Things. For instance, one of the projects we are going to kick off next month, at the end of next month in China, is a Google Chromecast-like device. So if you know Google Chromecast, you can buy it for something like 30 euros, and you just plug it into your smart TV, and you can get Netflix and watch any kind of content over there, right? But we are going to do this with Decent, so people can directly connect to this huge network of content, which is there without middlemen, and actually the content is there put directly by authors. So, for instance, I don't have Netflix, but I tried to set it up some time ago in Slovakia actually, and the content I had access to here was much less than in the US, and the price is almost the same. Here is probably, maybe correct me if I'm wrong, but something like 20 or 30% of what you can have in the US. There are people using VPNs to hack this, right? But there would be no need for this, right? No need. Someone would ask, okay, but how this could be a business model, right? If there are no fees and so on and so on and so on. So Decent is non-profit. We are a foundation. So we have no incentives to charge any fees in there. We are making it open and public to everyone to use, to everyone to have equal opportunities. What we want to do is something like actually the model Linux uses. Linux is a free operating system, open source. You can download the kernel, and you can use it and compile your own Ubuntu, right? Which is not a small company, Canonical, Mandriva, or many other business models. So we are building a platform people can use. People can build applications on top of it with their own business models. For example, with those hardware devices, we will just sell the device and the content is there. So there is a picture, we don't see this about the key distribution, but I will not go into the cryptographical details now. It's, the screen, it's not well seen over there. So okay, there is something called Metcalfe's law, which comes actually from the telecommunications industry. What does it mean? It means that if you have two phones, you can call only one guy. If you have two phones in the network, if the whole network is this. If you have 5 phones, how many people you can call? How many people this guy can call? You can call 4 other people, right? And if you sum it up, you have much more, right? And if you have this number, then there is a lot of connections that can be done. So the Metcalfe's law says that the value of any network, basically any network, is increasing with the square of the number of its users. Users or some asset, something that is typical to them. Or a lot of people think that this brings actual value. Investors think this. Silicon Valley, this is a very well-known mental model for the number of users. So, for example, WhatsApp was sold for something like 19 billion US dollars or something like this, and why? So one of the reasons was this, because WhatsApp was this, right? So this is the value in users. Then let me show you an example. So I talk about the n squared, right? The number of users. So there was Chinese researchers. They published a paper in something like 2 or 3 years ago, and they compared the Metcalfe's value, the one I just shown, of Tencent and Facebook. They took data from the public domain. So you can see that this is just some constant, and the n square is here. And the same of Facebook. So they just took real world examples of 2 big companies. Facebook everyone knows, and Tencent is a very big Chinese development company. They are also into IT. They are actually part of the Chinese big three. BAT is Baidu, you know, the Chinese Google. Then Alibaba. Alibaba is Jack Ma. They have done some time ago the biggest IPO ever, right, in the US. And T is Tencent. So they are based in Shenzhen, just next to Hong Kong. And Facebook, you know, the same. So we can see that you can isolate that there is something from the Metcalfe value in real world examples, and you can apply this to, you know, different companies. You can do it with WhatsApp and whatever. I haven't done the math, but one day maybe. Then, if we again have a look at this Metcalfe value and Bitcoin, or tokens such as ETH or DCT we will use in Decent. So this black curve is n squared, and n is number of transactions per day in Bitcoin network, right? And n squared, the green one, is unique addresses used per day in the Bitcoin network, and this one, the gray one, is the market cap of Bitcoin taken from the public domain. So you can see some, you know, very strong positive correlation of this mental model and actual data about Bitcoin. So, and I think this applies also to Litecoin, this applies to ETH, and so on and so on and so on. So more something is used, more valuable it is. That's basically the conclusion from this. Now I talked about tokens and those decentralized applications. But blockchain is not only about the Bitcoin and decentralized applications. Blockchain has a huge scope of application in industry, and one of them is energy. And Decent, actually, we have solutions for energy industry as well. So what we have, it can be applied to this use case. I actually realized this later on. First we had Decent, and then I realized it's this. So also, of course, so you know, the smart meters, data distribution management. So you can, you know, the data are very sensitive from the smart meters. Everyone has a smart meter. If you hack your smart meter at home, I don't know how much is your electricity bill, but maybe 50 euros, 100 euros, or something like this. So some people may have some incentive to hack it, right? This is just the machine, and so on. So they hack it and they don't pay this, or pay much less. And if many people do this, then, you know, you take industry. So this is where blockchain is a solution. Everything is timestamped, immutable, secure, trusted. Same with due diligence of power plants. Imagine having a power plant, right? A power plant has a lot of data, right? How much energy they produce every hour, you know, how many kilowatt hours, and so on and so on and so on. So if someone is doing due diligence of power plants, that means if the data coming from power plant are true or not, how it is done today. So the power plants energy industry is a highly regulated industry. It's something like fintech, you know, something like banks, highly regulated, and they're very clumsy, very, you know, there are processes and everything is slow and they have no incentives and so on and so on. So if someone is doing due diligence, they just basically send you an Excel sheet of the data. And as I already mentioned at the beginning, how easy is to manufacture this kind of Excel sheet of data. You can just put any data and send it. But if we had blockchain, forget about this. Same thing is peer-to-peer energy exchange. I will soon introduce a company that is doing this. So that means that actually I have, for example, solar panels on my rooftop at home, for instance, and it's very sunny. You know, what to do with the energy, right? I don't have a Tesla at home or the Elon Musk's battery to store the energy there, so I cannot store it. So only way for me is to sell it to the network, to the state grid, or I don't know how is it called in Slovakia or whoever. And the price is usually very low. So they pay me actually almost nothing, but if I want energy from them, I pay a lot. So this is kind of not right neither. So there is a way of disruption in peer-to-peer. That means I can sell my energy from my rooftop to my neighbor for a market price, or I can just put it to an exchange. So this is basically our backend, and there's energy providers and households over here. So just a very short example. And there is actually one company who is focusing on the peer-to-peer energy exchange called Transactive Grid. They are based, I believe, in Brooklyn. in the US. And as I already said, that there is a guy, or she actually is Marta. Marta has a rooftop solar panel, and there is too much sun, so she's selling the energy to through blockchain to their neighbors or in the market. And it can be, of course, transferred using the grid, the actual grid, but the payments happen in the blockchain. Or this Uniledger. This is a Chinese project. At the beginning of August, I attending a energy strategy conference organized by Chinese government in Qinhuangdao, not that far from Beijing. And the blockchain is one of the number one things over there, what they are talking about. So this company, this is just a picture of slides taken by me, and they are doing the same as was with the the solar panel. They are doing in the industry application. So actually, a power plant can sell to anyone, or anyone who is connecting, bigger guys can sell to another factory using the blockchain. Then another thing, real estate. Right? So you have blockchain in real estate. So what does it mean? Again, the reputation. Reputation, right? You are renting. For example, I rented a couple of flats in my life, and I just rent to someone. I post an announcement somewhere on Facebook, or I don't know, this room is for rent, or this apartment, and so on. And people come to me and they have a look whether they like it or not. Then I ask them, where do you work? Please provide these kind of documents, right? I don't know, from your employer, or you pay security deposit this much, and so on and so on and so on. But there is a lot of bureaucracy in there. The transaction cost is kind of high, and it's not very. I cannot determine whether someone is a good tenant or not, and from one or two meetings, right? I see someone for 30 minutes, and it just not enough to determine this. But maybe many of you have this kind of experience as well, and it's on the both sides actually, tenants and landlords. And what if there would be just a score, a reputation score, a rating? This guy has a rating of 90 out of 100.
Where is the difference between like Airbnb reviews compared to this type of reviews?
For Airbnb reviews are mutable. So this Airbnb, I don't know, but what could happen there is that just some reviews disappear one day. For example, mine in Prague on Booking.com. I left a bad review, which was a bad business for the hotel. That is probably, I don't know the business model of Booking, but they are paying something to Booking.com, and they want to be on good terms with the hotel, right? Otherwise they would lose their customers, right? But this is in blockchain, so everything is fair. You see what happened.
So nobody can return it or edit?
No. Once it is there, it's there. No way to change, no way to reverse. One of the keys. So now, just another model. Many of you probably know Gartner. Gartner is a market analytics agency, very well known in the US, and every year they publish reports about various things in high tech and so on. But one of them is called Hype Cycle. So this is kind of a model, this curve, of adoption of a new technology. Either it can be AI, big data, blockchain, you name it. So everything is here. And this is Gartner from last year, from let's say July 2015. So if you have a closer look, you can see that there is cryptocurrency just over here, right? And it's saying that cryptocurrency, the blue one, has 5 to 10 years until adoption of mass markets, according to Gartner. Actually, this agency is very well respected by the investors in Silicon Valley and beyond. Now, the same thing, but from last month, from this year. So, if you have a look, there is no cryptocurrency over here, but there is blockchain. And blockchain is dark blue, so 5 to 10 years. So, according to Gartner, blockchain technologies has 5 to 10 years until mass market adoption. So this is what Gartner is saying. According to me, it's probably, and thanks to China, because everything was a little bit faster over there than elsewhere, it's probably 3 to 5 years. So we all here, we are all innovators actually, by being already here talking about blockchain and knowing what that is. What would be in 5 years? So, I see it everywhere. So this is just one of the models. And the other model is called Technology Adoption Lifecycle, which has been introduced by Geoffrey Moore, something like 2 or 3 decades earlier. There was a very well-known book called Crossing the Chasm of Crypto, of not cryptocurrencies, but of just Crossing the Chasm. And if you want, and what he introduced is this, he used this curve over here. And this curve is the Gauss curve or the Bell curve. So it means the normal distribution of basically everything. Once I was at the university, so we had some grades according to this adjustment. But this curve is continuous, right? Everyone thinks it's continuous, there is no gap. But actually, but I will get to it a little bit later, there is a huge gap in this. And the gap has two parts. Two main parts. The first part is our early markets. Early markets are the first 16% of the people that are adopting new technology. So it is not this. It's not iPhone. This is not 16%. 16% is something blockchain, something like blockchain or Bitcoin, right? It always starts with people who go to hacker spaces that like the new innovation technology and so on. They like it from the technology sake, and play with it because it's cool and it's perfect. And then there is some the VC capital starting to chip in this ecosystem, and there are then entrepreneurs building business, and then it's somehow getting somewhere close to this number, but still 3D printing, for example, is one of the examples, very popular early market as well. So and then there are those mainstream markets which constitute 84% of the people. This is where the actual business is of all those technologies. This is Apple Store, right? iPhone. I use iPhone without caring much what is in there, right? What kind of technology, what kind of microchips, what kind of semiconductors. I don't care, right? I just use it because it's seamless and it supports me in my work. So this is where the real business is, 84%. So this is something coming here probably in 5 years, or 5 to 10 according to Gartner. So and this is what we actually want to do with Decent, to get in here, cross the gap as soon as possible. Is what we are doing. But I will explain this very soon. So this is the gap, the chasm over here. So this is the first part, the 14%, 16%, and here you have the 84%. So 84% is much more than this, and it's actually hard for any high technology to get somewhere from here to here. And many technologies never done this. Never got to mainstream adoption. And one of the examples is this. All of you know Segway, right? It's here for I don't know how many years, probably more than 10 or even more. And you can see it somewhere. I was in Prague, for example, so you can see people, using it for tourists, renting it. But I don't see, on the other hand, people taking this instead of their car or public transport, right? This is just not here. And then, so they are still in those. They are still somewhere in here, and they actually, it's very hard for them to cross, according to me at least. And the answer is this. Segway doesn't deal well with stairs. So a lot of cities have stairs, and this is kind of the speed bump or the stop wall, or how I call it, the Berlin Wall of not crossing. So hopefully there is not this with blockchain technologies. There are no stairs. So again, actually our job is to get from these innovators, hacker spaces, to Apple stores, right? To get to those mass markets, to build great products and have it everywhere. So, and I already introduced some of those technologies, so Bitcoin, Ethereum, DAO. So the question is, they could touch the gap from the left-hand side, but they are still not there. And the question here is how to get there. I've been studying and researching on this subject for a long time, and still it's very hard to get a solution, because we are dealing with something that no one knows what that is, basically, and looking for use cases and how will it work, right? So again, answer what we do with Decent. You know already that we are eliminating unnecessary middlemen and manipulation and reducing transaction costs, right? So one of our products will be this. We are currently in touch with the third or fourth biggest e-book readers manufacturers in the world. And it's not Amazon, because they are the biggest, I believe. And the business model of Amazon is to have their content, lock in. So once you have, the Kindle, you buy it, then you only purchase content from Amazon, or you can spend time tweaking it and using something else, but it's not for, for mainstream markets, right? It's tweaking is not. So most people will not. They will just buy stuff from Amazon. So. But this is not the case with this manufacturer, who is, we will see, but probably going to integrate Decent into their ebook readers. So, a layman, a standard person just buys that ebook reader, and they don't know anything about Decent, they don't know anything about blockchain, they just download books. And they realize that the books are cheaper and there are more books, more content. So this is what happens. So this is one of the ways for us to get to the mainstream markets now, this year, or beginning of next year. One of the ways. Another thing is Decent music. iTunes, right? You have a lot of stuff on iTunes, you can buy it per song. Actually what Apple has done was that they, before iTunes, most of the music was sold on CDs, right? Or in the form of albums. So even if you want to hear only one song, you have to pay for everything. You have to buy the whole CD, even if you are not interested in it. Yes. So basically we are taking this to the next level, that you don't need to pay a middleman to buy your one song, right? So it's kind of pay as you go, no subscription and not this kind of stuff. Of course there can be a subscription model on top of it, but the technology directly allows this. You don't need to have a company to do it, but with Decent you just download it and use it. And then, very interesting one is Decent Stream, which we are launching in China next year, where we are manufacturing the Chromecast-like hardware devices. People can just plug to any smart TV and watch content from Decent. So it's something like Netflix, but no subscription. There will be a lot of free content. You once buy the device and it's everything for you already, what is there, or you pay directly to the author. So this is the movie or the digital video content distribution, what we are going to do. So, and then one of the examples, please.
I, for example, Will Smith would like to put this movie to Decent.
You mean he will put it there for free with no fee, or user base?
There is a high quality movie.
Yeah.
A lot of money goes to the production, and they offer it for free.
Yeah, of course they can put, it's open protocol, so it's like Bitcoin, you can just use it, or email, everyone uses email for free, you just need to have a server, so they can put it there for free. Yep. There is a very small transaction fee, actually.
Yeah, but I think what you asked is that he can put a price tag on that movie, so people can actually directly pay to him.
Yeah, the key thing maybe I forgot to mention is the author puts the price tag on the content. So for example, I have an ebook or a movie, and it's expensive, so I say, okay, you pay me 100 euros to download.
What is optional?
Optional. Any price tag. You can put 1 million euros to download, you can put 1 euro to download, and you can put it for free. Please.
Regarding this also, how do you deal with copyrights?
Copyrights, infringement?
Yeah.
Copyright infringement. Okay, copyright. So we receive a lot of questions about this, but the question is who should deal with what, right? Because Decent is just a data distribution protocol. Maybe you can take it maybe as a BitTorrent or HTTP. Everyone is using HTTP to get to Facebook or to YouTube. Is HTTP dealing with the content you are, you are consuming through HTTP? Obviously no, right? And Decent is maybe something like this, just the protocol. But what we are doing, we are on many apps. For example, with this Pocket, this ebook reader guy, with him he needs to have a DRM. So in order to get to his devices, to his user base, we need to use a DRM. So how will it work? It will be an application that will use Decent, and everything would happen on top of Decent, but Decent will be in the stack, in there. But the DRM will be on top of it, such as copyright. So one of the, maybe the best answer for this is this, it's just the protocol. Okay, we can discuss, of course, after we finish soon. So and then one of the examples we already have is Decent HiDis HW, I don't have it here because I forgot my keys at home instead of keys. And actually, this is of some small device. It's a key tag. You can put in your keys, the size of a €2 coin. And there you have actually all your private keys, all your passwords in there. You just use your phone with NFC and it unlocks everything. You don't need to remember any password. This is the hardware password management, hardware password safekeeping stuff. So when this company already running manufacturing on the market, they will integrate Decent into there. So you can have your Decent keys alongside with Amazon password and everything. So the layman, they just don't need to remember anything. Just come here and very easy to use. And to finish or to conclude this presentation, I would like to let you know that on Saturday we have our ICO, which is our initial coin offering. So it's something like IPO, initial public offering. They are with IPO, a company selling their shares, their stock to investors. And here we are selling our coins, our tokens of payments to the people, to the public. It's open, and people can just go on sale.decent.ch or scan this. This is actually for China with WeChat, but whatever, it's just decent.ch, and you find all the information over there. Sorry for the picture, I forgot to change it for Telegram. But yes, so people can actually buy those tokens on discount. So it's probably much cheaper as it could be in the future. But no one knows how would this behave, Metcalfe's law and so on. So if you want to support us, you like this project, the decentralized content distribution. Actually, we don't have a size of some tickets or whatever. I think the minimum would be something like €10 we will put there because there'll be too much transaction. So if you are interested, it's open and starts on Saturday at 3 p.m. Bratislava time. So thank you very much for your attention and coming over here to this legendary first Decent meetup. And if you have any questions, you can reach me at this email, m@decent.ch, or I can talk to you. So thank you.